Soldiers run towards the palace, and once they are inside, Grandpa finds everyone on the floor except for King Ming. As Grandpa questions him, King Ming reveals that a demon had escaped from the sealing chamber and killed his senior Simu and the others. But Grandpa accuses him of lying and orders the soldiers to capture King Ming. But before they get to him, King Ming activates his travel spell to escape from the place. Soon, Chief Bainey enters the palace to hear what happened, but she doesn't believe that King Ming could have done all this. We move on to 7 years later. The Capitol Guards escort the tributes for the Ghost Festival through forest before the Monster Realm. After they cross the mountain path, the captain signals for them to stop, and one of the soldiers notices a robed figure walking towards them. The horses pulling the carriages run away in fear, but the captain charges toward the figure. On getting close, the figure reveals its white face, and the captain fights to knock its head off. He orders his soldiers to come back, but soon he is shocked to find the figure get back up after fixing its head. The figure opens all of its arms with weapons, and soon gets into battle with the captain. The other soldiers run away in fear, and the captain manages to kick the creature off the ground. This causes the robe to open and 3 ferret-like creatures fall to the ground. The captain is not feared by this, and jumps to land the final blow, but he is stopped by the spell of a man who signals the creatures to run away. The man doesn't answer the captain's questions, and goes on to look at the tribute items. So the captain tries to force the man to come with him, but the man uses a spell to make the captain slip and fall whenever he tries to attack him. With this happening, the man whistles, and soon more monsters who are hiding in the forest reveal themselves and start looting the items. Before they leave, the man releases the spell, and the captain dares the man to tell his name, and we learn that the man is King Ming. King Ming leaves with the monsters, and the captain falls back unable to stop them. Late at night, we find King Ming lives along with all the creatures inside the forest, and at this time, the ferret creatures are separately gathering their share of the loot outside the forest. Back in the capital, crow demons sneak in to take over the mind of one of the guards. This disrupts the grandpa and his team to leave the sealing room, and the crow demons enter the palace. The soldiers find the guard attacking them, and before grandpa could act, Chief Bainey steps in to release the guard form the demon's spell. Bainey orders them to go back since this might be a distraction, and as she thought, they find 2 crow demons unsealing seal of the scale stone. Bainey immediately reactivates the seal, but one of the crow demons manages to take the scale stone away. Bainey snipes the demon and it falls in the forest, dropping the scale stone. The ferret monsters happen to be at the place and take the stone away. Soon the soldiers arrive to drive the demon away, and they go after the ferrets, but one of the ferrets swallows the scale stone. They knock out the soldier and leave carrying their companion. Meanwhile, the crow demon that escaped reports back to the Ice Queen. The Ice Queen gets enraged after hearing that her plan failed and uses her powers to freeze the crow demon in place. The ferrets reach King Ming's place in the morning, and they try to sneak in without King Ming noticing them. However, King Ming catches them and asks what had happened to the ferret. Hearing the story until now, he tries to wake the ferret, but a white smoke enters King Ming's mind, and he hears the voice from the Demon King saying that King Ming should help him get out to the human world. King Ming manages to escape from the voice and immediately carries the ferret inside one of the cabins and sealing it inside there. He orders his assistants to guard the ferrets and decides to leave for the capital city. The elders convene a meeting, and Grandpa stresses on the point that King Ming had ordered the monsters to take the scale stone away, and with the stone not here, the sealed demons are trying to escape, and it will be harder to hold them in any longer. The elder mentions that it was Chief Bainey's fault to let King Ming off 7 years ago, and that she is still soft-hearted. Bainey asks him to watch his words and thinks about the past when they were learning about the Yin-Yang Bureau. Bainey and King Ming chant the sealing spell along with the others, but King Ming gets interrupted by the Demon King invading his mind. The other kids start ridiculing King Ming since he has the blood of both human and demon within him. Bainey stands up for King Ming, and their elder brother Simu asks them to stop, but King Ming's demon powers activate to push Simu back, and Simu uses the sealing spell to stop King Ming's demon power to activate. Simu also orders the other kids to keep the matter secret. Coming back, Chief Bainey offers prayers at Simu's grave and prays for the problem to get solved. Back at the Capitol Guard's place, the captain asks for permission to go after King Ming, but his superior rids the captain from his position and sends him away. The captain enters the city to look for clues to find King Ming, but he is caught by a woman named Shenel, who is also looking for a way to enter the monster forest. Having got the map, she needs a spell to enter the forest, and the captain reveals that he has one after he fought King Ming. The captain manages to capture her, and they follow the map to enter the monster forest. After walking for quite some time, they end up in a cliff, and Shenel awkwardly tries to activate the spell and tears it apart. The captain gets gets furious since she tore it, but soon the spell activates and a bridge appears to let them through. They end up in the middle of the monster city by night, and they reach the Red Tower where King Ming might be working. As they head towards the tower, Chanel runs forward to greet King Ming as master and stands in front of him pointing at the captain, revealing his identity. King Ming learns the captain's name is Yuan Boya and immediately casts a spell making Boya his familiar. Chanel becomes jealous of this and pleads King Ming to make her a familiar as well. But King Ming makes Boya hold Chanel back as he enters the Red Tower. King Ming meets with a fish monster and asks for the Tushan sword, which has the power to destroy demons. The fish monster freaks out hearing the name, but King Ming uses his powers to get the answer out from the fish. Seeing the monster willing to help him, King Ming offers to provide it with 2 live humans and points towards Boya and Chanel, who happen to notice him from below. Soon Boya gets pushed in the arena below, and his opponent turns out to be the undefeated Red Demon. Boya underestimates it, but he manages to pin it down and starts bashing it. But to his surprise, the little demon grows in size and starts playing with Boya by throwing him around. Satisfied by this performance, the fish monster takes King Ming to the place where the Tushan sword is sealed. King Ming enters and releases the seal on the sword, but before he leaves, the strike team from the bureau arrives. King Ming uses his powers to escape. At this time, Chanel notices King Ming's spell heading towards the Red Demon to help free Boya. King Ming forces the members of the bureau, but Bainey enters to stop him. Bainey asks King Ming to hand over the scale stone, but he is surprised to hear her accusation. Bainey breaks his spell, and they enter into chase. At this time, Boya manages to overpower the Red Demon while the other demon curse at him for winning. But Boya refuses to kill the Red Demon and heads up to save Chanel and flee from the place. The Red Demon jumps in to lend a hand, and King Ming and Bainey go neck to neck to pull the Tushan sword towards them, and it ends up falling down. Boya manages to pick the sword up, and since the demons fear the sword, they manage to head outside unscathed. The demons surround them, and King Ming flies down to hand over the sword to him. But at the time, the elders from the bureau attack them, and Bainey jumps in to protect King Ming but gets hurt instead. Seeing her injured, King Ming activates his demon powers and activates his travel spell. Boya, Chanel, and the Red Demon follow him inside the spell, and they get dragged along as well. King Ming immediately carries her inside and starts treating Bainey and the assistants. Welcome Boya and Chanel inside. Bainey wakes up and takes her staff against King Ming, and he opens up about what actually happened 7 years ago. We see Simu, who asks to take King Ming's place to guard the scale stone. Since he is affected by the demon power, King Ming agrees, but he notices the demon power, and he returns to find the Ice Queen attack him, and he had destroyed Simu while counter-attacking. Bainey doesn't believe him, but King Ming says otherwise. And at this time, Boya hears the ferret knocking the sealed door and opens it despite Chanel standing against it. King Ming comes to stop it, but it bites him, activating the demon inside. With no hope for it, King Ming asks Boya to stab the ferret, and after it is destroyed, Bainey comes to pick the scale stone before Qingmen touches it. She warns King Ming for lying to her and vanishes through her spell. The other monsters mourn for the ferret, and at the time, Chanel opens up about her past. She was an orphan and the monsters took care of her. But the bureau ended up killing them all, and it was King Ming who saved her. That is why she decided to follow King Ming as her master. At this time, the Ice Queen learns about Chief Bainey injured, and her subordinate mentions that Bainey cannot escape the monster realm. And as mentioned, we find Bainey still inside the monster realm, and she is confused by this as well. But soon, the Elder and the other members of the bureau come to her rescue, but they are soon hit by the Ice Queen's attack. Most of the members succumb to the attack, and the Ice Queen herself drops in to get the scale stone from Bainey. Even though the Elder intervenes, the Ice Queen kills everyone else, and she overwhelms Bainey. But soon, King Ming flies in to save her, but the Ice Queen disappears after shooting the ice shards at him. Bainey apologizes to King Ming for not believing him, and he leaves her after promising to return after taking her down. The Ice Queen and King Ming plan to fight at another place, and at the same time, Bainey is attacked by the Ice Queen's subordinates. Soon, King Ming manages to take down the Ice Queen, and at this time, it is revealed that the Ice Queen's subordinate turns out to be Simu, who they thought had died 7 years ago. Simu reveals to Bainey that he had been envious of King Ming possessing all that power those years ago, and he wanted the same. Simu takes the scaled stone from Bainey and transforms into a demon. The Ice Queen reveals the truth to King Ming as well and mentions that it was Simu who set her free all those years ago. King Ming doesn't believe it and kills the Ice Queen. Simu turns the monster hand into a giant creature and rides it to the monster realm. He unleashes his power and takes control of the minds of all the monsters. At this time, King Ming's assistants prepare for the Demon King's attack, and Boya sobers up after learning the truth. Chanel joins them as they head towards the monster realm, and despite her refusal, Boya and the Red Demon follows them as well. By the time King Ming reaches the monster realm, the entire city is covered in darkness. He heads inside as he questions his actions all those years ago. Simu answers with his desire for the demon's power that King Ming showed him, and he took the Ice Queen to aid him in gaining the power in the past, but it was too much for his human body, so the Ice Queen had to take action so that they can escape. Hearing this, King Ming soon enters into battle with Simna and manages to pierce him with the Tushan sword, but to King Ming's surprise, the sword doesn't have any effect. Simu turns the sword into ashes and reveals that he has killed Bani. At this time, Boya takes the lead of King Ming's monsters and prepare for the battle. The rats start chewing the bridge's support, and one of the assistants turn into a huge tree. Boya follows the rest to head up on the tree as they stand to block the monsters from crossing the bridge to the human realm. A fierce battle soon begins, and the humans realize the situation at the monster realm through the darkness in the sky. Chanel falls down and Boya joins her on the bridge. The Red Demon jumps down to fight alongside them as well, but at this time the monsters stop attacking to reveal the giant monster carrying King Ming's body and kills him right before their eyes. Simu drops his body down the bridge, and the senior assistant mentions that King Ming had ordered for them to be free if he happens to die before them. Hearing this, they don't fall back but decide to stand against Simu, with Boya standing before them. As the monsters start charging, the rats signal for them to run, and they run back as the bridge starts collapsing. As they engage in the fight, King Ming dreams of talking with Bani, who asks him to join her. But King Ming sees through the illusion of the demon, and soon hears the demon within him asking King Ming to replace Simu. The demon wants to merge with King Ming since only he has its blood, and Simu will only go crazy to kill everyone. Realizing that he doesn't want everyone else to die for him, King Ming gives in to the giant snake demon, which is finally revealed. Right then, the Red Demon sacrifices itself to save Boya and jumps down, smashing through the bridge. Boya tears up watching his first demon friend die before his eyes, and Simu places the giant monster over the gap for the monsters to cross. Right then, Simu retreats back as an awakened King Ming flies up to smash into the giant monster and floats before his monster friends. Simu controls the giant hand to fight King Ming, but King Ming overpowers him using the demonic energy within him and pierces through Simu's heart and takes the scale stone from inside him. Simu crumbles before them and falls into the abyss below, and soon Bani, who was restrained by Simu's spell, wakes up and reaches the bridge. Bani asks King Ming to follow her to the bureau along with the scale stone, but King Ming destroys the stone right before their eyes. As he faces them, King Ming fights an internal battle against the snake demon and forces the snake demon to take him as master by starting to seal it within him. Feared by this, King Ming becomes the demon's master and decides to side with the demons forever and leads the demons as he leaves his monsters and frees them from their bonds. Bani tears up watching him leave, and after that we see the humans praise Boya to be their savior. King Ming's familiars shed tears seeing their master abandon them, and the movie ends with King Ming still watching over them from the top of the city. And that is it for this 2021 movie called The Yin Yang Master. I shall see you in the next video, and until then, this is your host for Movie Recap signing off.